Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer on AI pull prompting. Today we're unpacking the exact literal system used to transform LinkedIn profiles from static, boring resumes into automated inbound lead machines. If you've ever felt like you're just endlessly hunting for leads without much to show for it, this framework, it's going to absolutely flip the script. We're diving into the exact strategies that top-tier professionals use to make leads hunt them.
All right, let's quickly run through our agenda for today. We'll be hitting on escaping the digital graveyard, the pull prompting philosophy, building your master prompt, extracting gold from transcripts, codifying tonality with AI, and finally, scaling your inbound machine.
Okay, kicking things off with Section 1, escaping the digital graveyard, and exactly why traditional outreach is failing us right now. So, if you're sitting there frustrated, struggling to generate any real inbound leads, you kind of have to ask yourself, why does your profile feel like an absolute digital graveyard despite your obvious talent and hard work? You post, you do the outreach, and the engagement is just crickets, right? Well, the truth is, it's not a lack of expertise on your part. Not at all. It's actually a fundamental flaw in how the platform is being utilized. See, most people are treating their profile like a static resume. You're basically using a manual screwdriver to do all the heavy lifting, sending individual cold messages, relying on generic AI autocompletion, and basically just crossing your fingers. Meanwhile, the top 1%, they've completely upgraded to a high-speed outreach engine. They don't do manual hunting anymore. So to join them, we need to configure your AI tools to run a proactive 24/7 automated authority system. Which brings us to Section 2, the pull prompting philosophy and how you transition into becoming a director of workflow. Now, look at the stark contrast here between traditional manual hunting and pull prompting. In the old model, you're the doer of tasks. You know the drill, you do 80% of the work, use AI to autocomplete the last 20%, and honestly, it usually just spits out generic robotic noise. Pull prompting flips this entirely on its head. You have to shift to being the director of workflow. You oversee the system, and the AI, it pulls the heavy lifting based on your actual real human experiences. This right here is the core philosophy. Instead of relying on AI just to blindly autocomplete things, think of it like a GPS. You supply the destination, like saying, hey, I need a sequence that converts cold leads into booked calls. But then, instead of asking the AI to just write it out of nowhere, you instruct the AI to ask you all the necessary questions to direct the route. You provide the rich fuel, and the AI simply directs the path. All right, let's get into the practical setup in Section 3, building your master prompt, and the brain audit. So if your AI sounds totally robotic when it writes for you, it's honestly because you've never formally introduced yourself to it. To fix this, you've got to construct what we call a master prompt by doing a complete brain audit. First up, compile your company context and your professional background. Second, add in your financial and revenue details. Third, clearly outline your specific core values. Then you literally just export all of that into a single PDF document. Uploading that one single file gives the AI this massive, deep foundational understanding of your unique professional identity. And boom, it entirely eliminates that generic AI noise. Moving right along to Section 4, extracting gold from transcripts and mining real human experience. Okay, here is the absolute golden rule, guys. Never, ever ask AI to write from scratch. If you do, it's always going to sound like a soulless robot just pretending to have human emotion. Instead, we use a process called extraction. What you do is feed the raw transcripts of your actual coaching calls or client meetings right into a housing unit like Notebook LM, for example. You do this to mine the authentic gold. We're talking your unique metaphors, your stories, your exact perspectives. Then, Claude steps in to apply the pull prompting framework, asking you really targeted questions to transform those raw insights into highly authoritative posts. And just look at how incredibly fast this conversion process actually is. At minute 1, you input just an hour of raw conversation. By minute 5, Notebook LM has already extracted the unique metaphors. Minute 10, Claude is applying your master prompt context. By minute 15, you've got a crisp, perfectly formatted output. And by minute 20, you are iterating viral variations of it. You are quite literally taking one single hour of human interaction and turning it into weeks of high-authority social content. Let's lock in that voice. Section 5. Codifying tonality with AI, and building your private minion. Now, before you go and automate everything, you need a strict writing style constraint. The winning formula is actually pretty simple: short, concise, and crisp. By defining these exact parameters, your content just slices straight through all the noise of that lengthy, boring corporate speak. It becomes immediately recognizable and distinctly yours. But how do we actually enforce this at scale? Well, you do it by codifying that specific tonality into a custom GPT. You are effectively creating a 24/7 private minion that is specifically programmed with your exact writing behaviors. This private AI assistant understands your voice so deeply that it can crank out posts and draft responses for you around the clock, maintaining your specific authority without you ever having to repeat your instructions. You set the whole shebang up once, and it just works tirelessly as an extension of you. Finally, let's talk scale. Section 6, Scaling Your Inbound Machine, and Hacks for Hypergrowth. So you can massively accelerate your growth using 3 distinct hacks. First up, social graph deep research. AI can analyze social networks to map mutual connections and even draft warm introductions in literally 5 minutes. I mean, that's a task that would normally take a human team 3 weeks. Second, viral variations. Look, success is iterative. You take your absolute best performing content outliers, feed them right back into the AI, and tell it to generate 15 new ways to say the exact same thing. It guarantees a much higher probability of success. And finally, data enrichment. We all know LinkedIn data can be notoriously messy. You use AI to clean up those spreadsheets and append critical info like contact numbers or even financial indicators like credit scores, so you know your outreach is targeting only highly qualified leads who can actually afford your services. We've covered a massive shift today, right? From uploading a brain audit to extracting real transcripts and deploying your own custom GPT minion. But remember this core principle: motion beats motivation every single day. Don't wait around to feel ready. So the ultimate question you really need to answer right now is this: are you going to stay in that digital graveyard, endlessly hunting for leads? Or are you finally ready to configure your AI workflow, leverage your authentic human experience, and become the hunted? The choice is entirely yours. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.